Hello, dear friends. Being on the side of innocent people is neither left nor right. It's simply the right thing to do. Opinion piece. Empathy. The world is separating. Global personality disorder. Not everything is what it seems. The divine plan is alive and kicking. Let's start. Empathy is the ability to identify with someone and share their feelings. It is the sensitivity that the human being has to understand the emotions and feelings of others, based on the recognition of the other as a similar living being with its own soul. Human beings have the ability to feel empathy for others, even if they do not have a personal connection to the people or places affected, according to Caroline Oceana Ryan. Seeing shocking images of disasters, conflicts, or tragedies can generate a strong emotional impact. This can lead to a feeling of helplessness, stress, anxiety, and worry. Not everything is as it seems, because due to the ascending nature of the planet, the conflict in the Middle East or in Eastern Europe and elsewhere is not happening on the same timeline as in the conflicts of the past. What is being overcome now is the feeling that one must choose a political side as if it were a football match, and then launch arguments for his side and against the other, as if political rights and grievances were the true problem at hand. The real problem is that humankind is reclaiming its sovereignty as it has never done since the fall to the third dimension. The images transmitted by the media provide a very immediate meaning. It spreads energy of destruction, even though it's not happening all over the world. And then you feel as if these horrible situations are happening in your own neighborhood. As this tragedy occurs, humanity experiences an opening of the heart that requires everyone to awaken their sense not simply of global community, but of universal unity. The immediacy of images and news can generate a feeling of proximity to events and situations, even if they occur in distant places. This can have strong emotional impact on people and contribute to the feeling that problems and conflicts in the world are much closer than they really are. The real peace of your own environment can almost seem like an anomaly, since your empathetic experience of what is suffered in a war zone is deeply rooted. While living in an atmosphere of relative peace and calm, you can extend your solidarity to all those who suffer. You call you can call upon your higher self to offer them inner sustenance. Old energy. Trust that everything is going according to a plan, according to the Arcturian group through Marilyn Raphael. That heavy energy that manifests as hatred, violence, judgment, and separation are affecting everyone's life in some way. The growing presence of spiritual light on earth is forcing energies that have long been hidden from general consciousness to the surface. This is forcing many who have lived with their heads in the sand to begin to see with new eyes. The divine plan is alive and well, but it depends on the people to implement it. Those who observe and help Earth from the other side cannot intervene directly and change things because each person's free will must be honored, and nothing will be learned if others do the evolutionary work. But I wonder, where is the free will of someone who has a bomb dropped on his head? The presence of high frequency energy acts to expose and dissolve lower resonance energies. The world is separating. There are those who live in a higher state of consciousness, and those others who choose to remain in that which is old and false. Allow world and personal issues to unfold from a place of detachment, as if you were watching a movie. Recognize and rest in the reality of higher self and all life, as the only divine consciousness manifesting as infinite form and variety. Reset News. Fiji said, "We are at the end. Revaluation rates have been set throughout the world." Cryptic message. "We are going to show them a new world. The blind will see the light soon. A new, beautiful, and brave world awaits us. We make this journey together, step by step." Surety believes that soon people will be dancing in the street and that there will be no elections in 2024. In his opinion, we are only a few days away from the great reset we are waiting for. In the future, there will be supervised elections to prevent cheating, and the price of gold and silver is expected to skyrocket. Puffiness thinks otherwise. In his view, many points of chaos around the world must be resolved before any aspect of the global financial reset can come to fruition. He believes the facts do not support the narrative suggesting an immediate launch. The world has multiple personality disorder. If the world were a person, it would be locked up in a mental institution. According to Steve Biko, the Great Awakening on planet Earth is about to begin. This moment in history is extraordinary because it marks the beginning of Earth's long-awaited awakening. He announces a conscious evolutionary leap towards the total liberation of our planet and the beginning of a new golden age. It is important that the entire world population supports this victory to prevent negative forces from returning in the future to oppress the population again. It is crucial to investigate in depth what really happened in ancient times so that each one sees the light and transmits it to others. It is our destiny to be filled with light and consciousness and remain free and sovereign beings forever. The breakup will come in one of two ways: the collapse of the fiat money system and or the mass awakening of the multitude. Curious. Japanese researchers have determined that there are at least two Putin lookalikes based on facial recognitions and voice identification, according to the British tabloid The Sun. Huge oil and gas reserves discovered under Gaza 2 weeks before the war. The arrival of Muslims to Western countries is part of a plan to provoke conflicts, says Mike Adams. World Cup fans panic about domestic education. Global fans panic about domestic education with good school results. Economy. The US and China developed the Basel III requirements together with Europe and the UK according to Goldilocks. The Bank for International Settlements has published detailed plans for its cross-border wholesale central bank digital currency project, a year after completing a pilot study. The Bank of England proposes allowing stablecoins as a payment option for goods and services. The BRICS are moving closer to a joint currency agreement and expect support from China and India. Many bank customers are receiving letters saying that their checking and savings account are being closed. The explanation, if there is one, is something like, "Based on your account agreement, we may close your account for any reason at any time." Close quotes. It seems we have a major problem with banks, according to Michael Snyder. In recent weeks, There have been many high-profile bank failures. Are being closed without warning at a staggering rate, and more institutions continue to get into very serious financial trouble. This financial problem is why a major political or military black swan event is likely, says Benjamin Fulford. Reflections. Daily message from Kesharas. You are not awake if you are more concerned with what is happening in the outside world than with what is developing within you. You are only informed. Is your consent out of love, or is it out of fear that your future is uncertain because of what is happening elsewhere? Your shift towards higher frequencies comes from within you and not from being distracted daily by news from the outside world. According to Steve Biko, enlightenment is not as simple a process as reaching as far as we can and then divine intervenes, but saying what the process is not something that can be done in one or two phases. We have a divine plan that we are following, that we drew up together with our design team before we were born. We agreed if, when, and under what circumstances enlightenment would occur. Impermanence. Recognizing the impermanence of all phenomena leads to a reduction in attachment and longing, since one understands that clinging to what is transitory only leads to suffering. This insight is directly related to realizing that there is no permanent self to cling to. This doesn't lead to nihilism, but rather a more authentic commitment to life free of delusion. As we walk through the valley of shadows, we face trials and tribulations, and fearsome evils, but we are not alone. We have each other, and the networks of previous guides who left us clues. Many expert decoders, explorers, and analysts, alchemists, mystics, mythologists, philosophers, artists, poets, and storytellers help uncover these clues. Helpers hidden from us, veiled beyond dimensions, fighting against powers and principalities that have anomalous effects, lost legacies slowly being recovered, some of them thanks to researchers. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.